Hi, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for watching and for subscribing. And if you're just visiting, please consider subscribing. So I'm going to do two videos about hyped up fragrances. One will be about fragrances worth the hype, and one will be about fragrances not worth the hype. And I'm going to concentrate mostly on niche fragrances. There will be probably one or two fragrances from private designer collections added in because I kind of consider these ones almost niche as well. But mostly I will concentrate on niche just because, bigger part of my collection is niche fragrances. Now, as always, this is my subjective opinion, so you can agree, you can disagree. That's totally okay. Let's just have a discussion in the comments. So today I'm starting on a more positive note, I guess, and I'm going to talk about niche fragrances that are worth the hype. And let's start with a beautiful fragrance from the house of Xerjoff, and that is Ivory Root. This is truly an amazing fragrance, in my opinion, a fragrance that is completely worth the hype. Now, I'm not even going to go into the notes here because you might know that this fragrance is from Join the Club collection, and the notes for this collection are hidden. So even though there are some notes listed on Fragrantica, I really don't believe that they're accurate. So let's not even go there. What does it smell like? Well, this is a stunning vanilla scent. It is extremely spicy, especially in the opening. First blast, you get a lot of spices. And, typically so many spices would be overpowering. They would be too much, at least for me, for sure. I don't mind a little bit of spice, but too much, I usually can't handle. But somehow here it works. And I think it works because from the very beginning, you get hints of this stunning, sweet, thick, warm vanilla. And as the fragrance develops, vanilla just gets stronger and stronger, sweeter and sweeter, more dense. And it's just amazing. You always have that combination of this rich vanilla with spices, but at the beginning spices are stronger, and in a dry down vanilla is stronger. Sort of uncomplicated combination in a way, vanilla and spices, and yet it's a stunning fragrance, absolutely worth the hype. Second fragrance that I think is worth the hype is Mula Mula from Byron Parfums. Now, whether you're looking at the original Mula Mula or Mula Mula Rouge Extreme, which is the version that I have, doesn't matter. I think either one is stunning and either one is worth the hype. Now, this one, and again, I have the extreme version. This is still in the older packaging. Now I think it comes out in this beautiful red bottle, but anyways, like I said, old packaging. The fragrance, I think, is still the same. This one has a lot of different fruits in it. I think there's strawberry, raspberry, could be other, berries or fruits added in. There's, of course, vanilla. There is oud in here, and there is caramel in here. And this is what I get. I get a bowl of different fruits. It is drizzled with caramel, so the fruits are quite sweet. And then that sweetness and fruitiness is balanced out by oud, which is not medicinal at all, not stinky at all. It is noticeable, but it's really a pleasant type of oud, So yeah, it's a beautiful combination. Again, even for those that don't enjoy the note of oud, I think here it's quite pleasant, and it's quite mass appealing, and kind of, I pay more attention to the fruitiness and more attention to the sweetness from the caramel than I do to the oud. But it does balance out those other elements really beautifully and kind of makes, I think, this fragrance a little bit more sophisticated and maybe a little bit more interesting. So yeah, either version of Mula Mula is definitely worth the hype. Next, let's talk about a fragrance from Maison Francis Kurkdjian, and it is Grand Soir. Now, when I tried this fragrance for the first time, I definitely didn't think it was worth the hype. I didn't particularly like it. I didn't think it was for me. And it took me some time to kind of understand this fragrance and understand how and when it works. Because in my experience, this is a fragrance that definitely has to be, well, worn obviously, but also tested on the skin. It smells differently on the skin versus the blotter. And this fragrance performs the best, or it smells most beautifully in cold weather. It's just not the same in the heat. And that was my problem when I originally tested it. I tested it during warm weather and I just didn't connect with it. Like, it was okay, but I really didn't understand the hype. And then when I tried it for the second time, it was already cold, it was the fall, and it was like I was trying a whole new fragrance. Of course, this is an amber scent. You know, it has amber, it has benzoin, vanilla, there's labdanum, there are a few other notes, and it's a beautiful amber scent. It is warm, it is rich, it is a little bit sweet, but it is not too sweet. It's not too warm. Like, it's really somewhere in the middle, which makes this scent very, very unisex. You know, sometimes I think ambers can lean one way or the other. Sometimes they can be very sweet and very warm and kind of lean a little bit more feminine, and sometimes they can be very sharp, cold, and spicy and really lean more masculine. To me, this amber is right in the middle. You know, it has some sweetness, but not too much. It has some warmth, but not too much. It has some spiciness, but not too much. And it is just a beautiful scent when worn on a skin and when worn during cold weather. At least that's been my experience. Next, let's go to Gris Charnel from BDK. Now, we have two versions now. There is the original Gris Charnel and there is the extrait version, which is what I have. And I think, you know, it's a personal preference which one you like more. You know, I know there are quite a lot of people who find these two, you know, very similar and they really enjoy both. There might be some people like me who really see a big difference between the two and prefer one over the other. But whatever version you prefer, I think this fragrance is definitely worth the hype. For me, like I said, it is the extrait version that I really, really love. This fragrance has, you know, spiciness. I think there is cardamom, there is fig, there is a tea note in here, there is tonka bean, there is maybe some woody notes, vanilla, maybe sandalwood as well, whatever else. And overall, it's this, you know, kind of creamy scent. I get significant number of sandalwood in here. It definitely has spiciness from cardamom and it has tea note evident as well. And what I absolutely love in the extrait version is that amazing smokiness. I'm not sure where it's coming from. I'm not sure what note exactly is giving that, because, you know, we don't really have any like incense or labdanum or whatever that are typically, you know, the notes that are giving a lot of smokiness. But somehow I get a lot of smokiness, and there's something magical to me about that smokiness here, which sounds a little bit silly, you know. Smokiness is usually not the most attractive element of a fragrance, but I don't know, it just does something to me in combination with all the other notes like the spices and the tea and the sweetness, you know, it just works amazingly. I am absolutely crazy over the extrait version. To me, this is the version that's worth the hype, but, you know, for some of you, you might prefer the original version. I think it's equally as beautiful. It just wasn't right for me. Okay, next, let's go to a very talked about fragrance, you know, the one that many people have been loving for the last few years. This is, of course, Angel Share from Kilian. And yes, there was a lot of hype when this fragrance first came out. You know, I bought it because of the hype, and I'm so glad that I did, because I think it is totally worth the hype. Even a few years later, because I think it's been about 2 years since it came out, yeah, it is still worth the hype. I think it's one of the most beautiful boozy scents. It has cognac, it has cinnamon, it has oak, there's vanilla, praline, a few other notes. And it's really like you're sitting by some bakery, that makes cinnamon buns, and you're drinking this aged glass of cognac, where you're still getting whiffs of that, oak barrel that, the cognac was in. It's just beautiful. It is so warm. It is so, I don't know, there's something cozy about this scent. There's something very sexy about this scent. It works. It works on all fronts. I think it is quite universal. It is completely unisex. It can work for different occasions. Like, I've worn this scent, during the day. I've worn it out in the evening. I sometimes even wear it when I'm sitting at home. And you know what? I enjoy it every single time. I think it works for any occasion. So this scent is absolutely worth the hype. Now, this scent perhaps is less hyped up than, some others that I've talked about today, but still there's been, quite a lot of hype about it, especially maybe a year or two ago. So I'm a little bit sort of late to the game. It took me a while to get this scent, but boy, I'm so glad that I did. Again, such an interesting, such a unique and different type of scent. Now, this is Isara from Dusita. Now, I have to tell you, overall, I've tried, definitely not all, but I've tried quite a few other fragrances from this house. Overall, they weren't for me, let's just say. Some I liked a little more, some I liked a little bit less. Overall, they were not for me. But this one, oh boy, I absolutely love this one. And this, I always hesitated putting this fragrance in a video because I don't know how to describe it. This one for me is so difficult to describe. The notes, they just absolutely baffle me. They don't make sense to me. There is sage, there is pine needle, there is tobacco, cumarin, vetiver, oak moss, woody notes, amber, and musk. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the notes. And this fragrance just, it's unique. There's something intoxicating about it, but in kind of in a different way. It's a little bit woody, it's a little bit powdery, it's a little bit smoky. It almost has like iris vibe to me. I don't know how to describe this one. Yeah, I'm doing a terrible job, but I agree that this fragrance is worth the hype. This one is beautiful, it's unique. It's definitely not for everyone, that's for sure. Not everyone is gonna like it because it is quite different, but don't discount it because of the notes, because originally when I looked at this fragrance, I thought, no, these notes, absolutely not my cup of tea. Give it a chance, get a sample, try it. This fragrance might surprise you. I really think notes just sound strange to me, and when I try the actual fragrance, it is something special. And since we're talking about, slightly unique and strange fragrances, well, let's talk about this one. This is number 5 from Rosendo Mathieu. Now, this one is for sure not for everyone, for sure. Don't blind buy this one. This is kind of, again, a strange fragrance. Sample this one first. But, is this a fragrance that I can wear every day? No. But is this fragrance worth the hype? I have to say yes, because of its uniqueness. To me, it is unique. Maybe some of you will disagree, but to me, it is very unique. It is described as floral, amber, sensual musk. Well, yes, basically that's what it is, that's what it smells like, and yet that description doesn't do it justice. Again, this fragrance, in my opinion, has to be experienced. It is very sensual, it is very intimate, it is very seductive type of scent. In a way, it is kind of a scent of clean skin, but it has a lot more to it than just that. Again, You gotta try this fragrance. You will either love it or you will hate it. But I think at the end of the day, you know, we all have different tastes, but this one is definitely worth the hype. Next, let's talk about a fragrance that I actually don't have a full bottle of, but I sampled it many, many times, and I do think it is worth the hype. Many people love this fragrance, and for a good reason. I am talking about Side Effect from Initio. I don't really know why I still don't have a bottle, because it's a beautiful fragrance and I really should add it to my collection. But I guess, you know, when the time is right, I will do that. Now, this fragrance has rum, vanilla, tobacco, and cinnamon. And it's another one of those absolutely unisex scents, you know, men and women love it, and I think it works for everyone. This is definitely a cold weather type of scent. It is quite strong and quite heavy. You know, it has like all of the notes that are listed, basically has a little bit of all of that, you know. It is definitely kind of smoky from tobacco. It has a bit of sweetness, although I have to admit that on me, it is not terribly sweet. For some reason, my skin doesn't pull out sweetness from it as much as, you know, some other people do, because I smelled it on other people and on them, it comes off sweeter than it does on me, which obviously I wish that on my skin, it was a little bit sweeter as well, but still, it's a beautiful scent. And of course, it has that boozy element from rum and a little bit of spiciness from cinnamon. So like I said, you know, there are 4 notes listed, and really we do get all of these 4 notes. They're beautifully blended together. It's just a gorgeous cold weather type of scent. There is a good reason why so many people love it. Side Effect from Initio is definitely worth the hype. And I'm going to add one more fragrance to this list, and this is Ruby and Vanilla Intense from EBK. Another beautiful, beautiful vanilla scent that's kind of different from many other vanilla scents. Now, finally, this fragrance in this house, they have presence on Fragrantica, because I know that when I talked about it previously, I couldn't find any information about it there, but it is here now, which is great. So there are some citruses in here. There's patchouli, vanilla, amber, almond, sandalwood, some woody notes, whatever else, you know. This one is interesting. Like, it's a vanilla scent, you know, sweet vanilla, but it is definitely not gourmand. To me, it definitely has a lot of creaminess. Like, it's very smooth and creamy and almost velvety feeling, you know. It does have a little bit of citruses peeking through, but they're not very strong, and for me, they're only there at the beginning. I do understand, you know, almond and sandalwood. I think they add this kind of creamy texture. Like, I'm not really getting any nutty elements from almonds, but it's more like some kind of, I don't know, maybe almond paste or something. Like, I'm getting a lot of creaminess and smoothness from this scent. It's just beautiful. I almost feel like there are some kind of floral elements in here as well. Like, no specific floral note really stands out to me, but I feel like in the background, you know, sort of in addition to citruses, I am getting some floral nuances as well. Don't know if there are actually any floral notes, but that's kind of what I'm getting here. It's a beautiful, beautiful vanilla. Worth the hype, with just one small caveat. Yeah, ordering fragrances from EBK is challenging, you know. As far as I know, the only way to do it still up to this day is by contacting them, you know, over Instagram, or I think there is an email floating around of how to contact them. You know, I'll tell you honestly, they don't always respond, to be honest. You know, when I was initially interested in this fragrance and I contacted EBK, they were wonderful. They responded right away. You know, they sent me information about the fragrance, how much it was, how to pay. They shipped it out quickly. It got to me quickly. It was wonderful. I was considering purchasing another fragrance from them a few months ago, and I messaged them again, and you know what? They never responded to me. And I didn't bother going back. It's just sort of too much bother, honestly. And I've heard from other people that, sometimes they don't respond. So that's unfortunate, their fragrances are becoming more and more popular. I think website is a must. There has to be a more convenient way of ordering these fragrances. But, let's put that aside for now and just talking about the quality and the scent profile here. Yeah, it is very special. It is very beautiful, and it is definitely worth the hype. So there you go. These are the fragrances that are worth the hype in my opinion. Please, let's have a discussion in the comments. Let me know, do you agree, do you disagree? What fragrances in your opinion are worth the hype? Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please remember to subscribe, to comment, and to like this video. And I will see you soon in the next one. Bye.